to start by really thanking members of the press for coming to today to listen to us. As you all know, we have lived in Senegal very sad and difficult moment for the past weeks. The world and the international media and governments, international organizations have all called on the government because of the violence and the level of brutality that they have testified through their own eyes, through videos. The government has produced its own version of what happened. Of course, a very shady version, a very fake version, without any truth of what happened. Lots of contradiction, even mistakes in the way they were writing, because they were rushing. President Ousmane Sonko decided that he was going to put into paper, in his own words, how himself and his political party have been harassed, brutalized, and members of the party and Senegalese citizens killed. He wanted to explain why Senegal had to come to this. What happened in our country? For years, many people who are living now under 20 years old cannot recognize the country because this is like we are living in another country. So he wanted to really put on paper and video so that for the history and for the Senegalese people and the all international community can know that exactly what happened. And this was done through facts, evidence. Everything that has been put down in this document is based by facts and by proof on video and statistics. So I would just like to summarize exactly what happened because it is important. You will receive the document in English and in Arabic and in French, but it was important for us to come today and just summarize what happened. We wanted to just go back to really what were the reasons for the Senegalese people to stand up as one person and resist this regime. Many people who came out were not members of our party. They were Senegalese citizens, young people who really were upset and angry against the level of injustices that is being put on an opponent. Now, this is not the first time that it is happening, that President Macky Sall is really making sure that his opponent is put in a situation of not being able to campaign and be a candidate. But this time around, it really went to a very high, a new level, because there was no ground for accusation. So he used the justice system, two things, to really ensure that he could use the justice system, weaponize it against his opponent. He also used one weapon that was that needs to be remembered, change the voting law so that any candidate should be a voter before it can be a candidate. And in that, if you're condemned by the smallest verdict, you cannot be running for, and that is really what happened in Senegal. So what we are saying is that first of all, during the election, legislative election, they made sure that they remove Pastef's candidacy, the candidates that were put down by, so the President Ousmane Sonko cannot be member of parliament. That was for them to open the door for now coming into all these cases. The case of Mr. Mambay Niang that you saw, that was spearheaded by the government, but that was really in a speed that we have never seen before. And the case of the lady Adji Sarr, who has accused him of rape and also accusation to kill her. And the verdict was clear. The verdict was crystal clear. There was no rape, and there was not attempt to harm or to kill. Now, they come with another verdict that trying to prevent him from running for election. And this is why people came out. But what happened was, we saw the level of violence that the government has organized violence, that militia people, side by side by the gendarmerie and the police, shooting live bullet ammunition on Senegalese citizens, on youth, the level of torture that we have never seen before on people until just yesterday. We saw another case of torture. But also the repression on putting people in jail. And I just want to give the figures here. 30 people have been killed. 26 confirmed shot by gunshot killed, and 4 non-identified. So 30 people have been killed. More than 80% of those people killed were killed by gunshot wound. More than 80%. 157 people have been wounded. And among those wounded, 15 of them have been wounded by gunshot wound. So you see this level of violence in Senegal that is really, beyond barbaric, beyond anything we have ever seen of Senegal. So really, President Macky Sall has shown his face, his real face, his true face to the world. And this is why they're now running around faking stories. Because when the Minister of Foreign Affairs stand up and state that the High Commissioner for Human Rights, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has congratulated Senegal, it is not true. The High Commissioner of Human Rights does not condemn, does not congratulate a president who shoots his own people. The High Commissioner of Human Rights does not congratulate a government just shoot its own people. What the High Commissioner of Human Rights said that Senegal is good at providing its reports on time. Now the reports can be true or fake, because these reports, when they are presented, there is a civil society report to counter the report of the government. So all the High Commission of Human Rights said that Senegal is good at giving report. Now, it's one thing to give a report, it's another thing to tell the truth. And many times, what is being put in this report are not true. So I just wanted to mention that. And to end, I would like to really say that we are following the cases because we think that there are international legal instruments that exist, not only the International Criminal Court, but there are many, many international jurisdictions that we will use. The Senegalese Human Rights Organization and the Senegalese people and Pastef will use to demand justice. Beyond, of course, all we have done to help all the people that have been incarcerated, access to lawyers, to help people, to feed people who are in jail, to ensure that anyone wounded be treated and receive medical care, because the government has decided to not give a medical care to people who have been wounded. The government went even going inside the hospitals to catch people who had been caught in manifestation and take them to jail. And I would like to end by saying that this situation have really seen high situation of violence against women and violence against children. And institutions that are working on violence against women and violence against children need to investigate this case. Beyond the investigation, the UN Human Rights Commissioner is going to provide and support the Senegalese government. So it is very important for us to state that many cases of rape, a woman coming from work, working on the side, being caught by the police in the shuttle, being beaten and told, if you make a noise, we'll rape you, and be put in jail for days. So several cases of violence for a government who's pretending that they're defending one woman. So we really would like to say that we are inviting the international community, we're inviting the Senegalese people to follow the press conference of our lawyer, Juan Branco, who is preparing a very important dossier to be taken to the International Criminal Court. We are also calling upon everyone to join us on the 25th of July, because we're going to stand up, because President Sonko has been incarcerated inside his own house without due process, illegally. And it is time for him to be able to freely get out. We understand that President Macky Sall is terrified to see President Ousmane Sonko outside, standing up and be followed by the Senegalese. But he will have to see it. He will have to deal with it, because it is time for him to go. It is time to write his hand over note and leave. It is time for him to leave, because his time is over. So we'd like to just thank you again for coming, and thank you for listening. And I will pass on our Vice President, who is going to speak in French. Thank you very much for listening.